Neon was super popular in the 80s, probably waned a little bit in the 90s with the dreaded invention of the LED light. But it has become popular again because of the whole artisan, hands-on, working with fire appeal to it. My name is Shawna Peterson. I run a neon sign company called Peterson Neon, and I've been bending neon for over 30 years. It was kind of a freak thing where I got a job at a neon shop and then started to learn it. Once I started actually doing the glasswork, it was really fun because you can just get lost for 3-4 hours and then look at your watch and you'll be like, what just happened? Whenever I would go to graduate school and say, oh, screw this neon business, I'm not going to do this job anymore. I'm going to go back to school and, get my master's or whatever. I'd go to grad school and I would miss neon bending so much. And then I would quit school and I'd go back to work full time. So eventually I stayed with neon bending because that moment when you turn on something that you've created with your hands is pretty blissful. So I get that every day. When you've been around for 30 years, you've seen it all come back in fashion. When I worked at the little retail shop, we sold pink flamingos and palm trees and a blue moon with a face in it, those were our hot ticket items. And someone recently sent me a palm tree graphic that they want to make for a tropical themed bar, and it was the exact same neon palm tree that I bent in the 80s like a million times. So I just I sent him a response back and I said, I'm so sorry, can you just find some other image, because I bent so many of those and it's really tired for me. I'm a snob, so. First step to making a neon sign is the pattern. Then I take a 4-foot stick of tubing that's pre-coated with a phosphor powder, and I bend that to the pattern, the full-size template. We work from the reverse side. All those bends are on the back side and painted out so that the front is the flat section. After the tube is all bent, I attach electrodes that allow you to hook up the neon tube to a power supply. After I put the electrodes on, I take it over to the pumping and bombarding station. We heat the tube up to 250 degrees Celsius because that burns off any impurities inside. And then you open up the vacuum pump. And on the same system you have neon gas, argon gas, sometimes krypton gas. So then you backfill in whichever gas you're going to use for that particular tube. The different gases that are used commercially for neon signs are neon, which is reddish orange, argon, which is pale lavender. Argon is probably the one that's used the most because that creates whites, blues, yellows, greens, purples, some pinks. Neon is usually all the red tones and the oranges. The helium, xenon, and krypton are much more expensive than neon and argon. Bending a neon sign can take 4 to 6 letters per hour. Script takes a little longer. Every bend, is done by hand over fire. Every splice is done by hand, and it takes training and skill. I think it's a unique trade because it's like got 1 foot in the art world and 1 foot in blue collar, like working in a warehouse. When I got started, we were all blue collar working class. That was the mentality. No one treated me differently because I was like an artist. That came later when people started getting all fancy-eyed about it. But, for me, I still feel like a worker. Don't call me an artist until I'm actually producing my own artwork. The popularity for neon was definitely with signage. and commercial purposes. Now it's more in office lobbies, and then the art side of neon has really exploded. Around 2004, I opened up my own shop again. I decided that I needed to devote some time to making my own artwork. What I started working on lately was kind of a response to the whole anti-immigration stance in our country that's happening. And I had an old sign face that said wash and dry, and so I made 3 images on it. And it's called Work, Work, Worry, because that's what immigrants do. My grandparents were immigrants and came here, and I don't really see any difference between the reasons they came and the people that are coming now. Everybody's just trying to make a better life for themselves. One of my favorite things to do with neon in this trade is to restore old signs, to bring something back to life that's been sitting in somebody's garage or up on a building just decrepit and falling apart. So, the older neon signs that have been in the neighborhoods for so long really become a focal point for people, and they have so much history that new people come into the neighborhood and everyone learns about it, so it kind of ties them, and gives them roots in a way that maybe they didn't have before. The most glamorous sign I had the ability to work on, I was brought in on the Castro Theater restoration with a company called Neon Works. That was super fun. I mean, they put scaffolding up through the whole thing, and I got to bend a bunch of the letters. I made the crown segment that's at the very top also. So that was pretty cool to actually put my own work in a beautifully restored painted sign cabinet. There's some pretty great neon signs in San Francisco. The Verdi Club is one. The Palace is a hotel in San Francisco. It's got a rooftop sign. I think I have a soft spot for theaters. I hope that people realize that there is a preservation piece that needs some community involvement. Just a few voices really make a big difference. Randall Ann Homan and Al Barna, who do the neon walking tours in San Francisco, they are really spearheading that effort of getting people involved and bringing more interest to neon in general, making sure that these icons don't disappear. They decided to hold a conference and bring people from other parts of the country who have been in neon, and then have local people do presentations and talk about their expertise. It's actually like the first real neon dedicated conference I've ever really heard of. My role at Neon Speaks is I'm helping make a small segment of the Grand Lake Theater with Greg King. People are drawn to neon, one, because it's handmade and made with fire and all these primitive elements to it. There's so many more artists that are choosing to work with neon. I would like to encourage more people to take classes, although there aren't that many offered, but we can't keep doing it forever. So I'd like to pass on the torch, literally.